Strap in and get ready. The leaders in AFL Supercoach are incoming, helping you win your leagues and climb up the rankings. You're now listening to the Insight AFL Show with your hosts, Big Horse and Skitty.
G'day and welcome to the Insight AFL Show. I'm your host, The Horse, and tonight with me, we got a little bit of a special episode here. We're doing a live team review, and it is of our man, Pete from Nerds4Life. So for those of you that know Pete on social media, a very connected man. He's got contacts all over the AFL world in training circles, what's going on at which club. And for Deadly and I, we're really interested to see your side, mate. Welcome to the show.
Look, thank you for having me. It's been a while. I've definitely been getting some FOMO watching you guys live, and I haven't been able to join. So thanks for having me on. And honestly, I'm sick of looking at my side. I've gotten to the point where I've made so many changes. I'm kind of just, I might want to just like turn it off, and then just like right before round one, just make a team, and then go nuts from that point. But
yeah,
before we do that, I'll show you what I've got so far.
Absolutely, mate. And it's already in the chat, mate. People really appreciate your training notes and the way that you collate information from all over Australia and put it out to the Supercoach audience. So I know from our point of view, we really do appreciate it, but not just from a content creator's point of view, but from a footy consumer's point of view. There are a lot of people here that follow the AFL that love what you do, mate.
No, I appreciate it. Honestly, I just have a lot of fun talking Supercoach, so I'm really glad that people are finding it useful. I started doing it purely so I can put my notes for my personal team in a spot, and then other people started liking it, and then I just kept doing it. So I'm just glad that people are finding it useful personally, honestly.
And is there any truth to the rumour, Pete, before we get stuck into Deadly, that you are Kelly Underwood's number one fan?
I think there's merit to it. Yeah, 100%.
And back with me again. This man has been all things statistics, data, you name it. He's done it here on the Inside AFL Network so far this preseason. Deadly, welcome back, mate.
Yeah, it's good to be back. I'm sure the people of the Insight community are getting very sick of seeing my face this preseason. Yeah, look, I'm ready to just justify every one of Pete's picks. So if you go bagging him, it's not good enough.
For those of you that have been watching us over the past week, we are going to commit to giving you a show a night this week. We're pumped for the footy to start. We can't wait for it to start. So we want to give you something every night to get the loins moistened before round 0 starts. If you haven't yet, please hit like, subscribe, and the bell. Be a triple banger. If you're listening to us on audio, that 5-star review would go a long way to us getting out there, getting up in the algorithm so then more people listen to us and appreciate the good content that we put out to the Supercoach community. Now, what we're going to do tonight, as we said at the top of the show, is that we're going to get stuck straight into Pete's team. So as you can see on the screen here, we've got his D1 through 8. And for some, there might be some surprises there. For some, maybe not. But, Pete, has Sheasel left your side at all?
No. Actually, honestly, there are 2 players that have been an absolute lock from 3 players. Sorry, 3 players have been an absolute lock from day one to now, and that is Sheasel, Butters, and Brayshaw. They're the only 3 that have not left my side for even 1 second. And I guarantee all 3 are going to get injured in the opening. I'm just kidding. But like, that's the thing. I don't know what it is. I just think that their roles are just perfect. I just can't see them not delivering this season. Apart, touch wood that nothing happens. But honestly, they have not. Those 3 are the only ones that have not. And if you looked at the last team reveal we did, there's been one big removal, and I blame you, Horse, for that removal. Because we have a little private chat, which I'm not going to announce all the contents, but Horse I swear he's been trying to get everyone on the Insight, the group chat to get off Bont. I don't know if this is a way to make himself win in the preseason or not. Like, I'm going to get all these guys off Bont. I'm just going to he's going to pump out a 160 round one. These idiots are actually listening to me. Or
Jeez, I hope so.
he might be on to something, because there were some notes, and I'm pretty convinced that you might be onto something here. I think that he's going to be a top 10 mid still.
Yep.
But we might be able to get him a little cheaper, so I'm going to take a bit of a risk, and I don't mind.
You're right. So you're right, Pete. Since the 2018 season in Supercoach, the top Supercoach scorer has failed to make his break evens and has always lost money, especially the last 5 years. I think it was Bont was the lowest one, maybe, and he lost 90K. All the others have lost over 100K. So when you're looking at Primo at that price, do you go, yep, I'm willing to take the price hit because he's going to be a keeper by season's end anyway? Or do you play the game of, I'm going to spend my money elsewhere and try and make money, do the risky fade, and then bring him in when he's 100K cheaper? So
as we move into my midfield, I'm going to go with the latter, and I will explain why as we move into the midfield. But we'll go with we'll start off with the back line, which everyone can see right now, right?
Yeah. So Geordie Clark, mate, and Wanganeen Malera, they both look prime for breakout seasons, don't they?
Honestly, I believe Wanganeen Malera is entering his 4th or 5th season. I'm just going to... Yep. 4th? Perfect. So he's entering his... Oh, sorry. I forgot that I'm sharing my screen.
That's okay.
He's entering his 4th season, which is the breakout year. Now, last year was kind of a little breakout season. He actually had a really good year as their secondary, distributor from halfback. And now with a bit of a hamstring issue with Sinclair, and even before the hamstring issue with Sinclair, you go watch that match simulation that happened just before Sinclair got injured, and David King was out there, and they were using Wanganeen Malera the whole day. Just the whole day. And he's such a good user of the footy. They want the ball in his hands and via foot. And honestly, I can just see him, I can really see him being a top 8 mid. And that's whether or not Sinclair's in the team or not, honestly. I can still see him pushing into that top 8 status. And at that price, you're doing pretty well. And then, as I mentioned at the start of the season, St Kilda is the best team when it comes to buy structures. They don't have an early buy. They've got a pretty easy draw for the first half of the season. They play Richmond a couple of times, which is great for halfbacks. And then also their mid-season buy is the best in the league. So at the moment, I want a Saints Primo, and Wanganeen Malera is screaming pick me at the moment. Jordan Clark is the main man at Fremantle at the moment. Yep. I mean, I could have gone Luke Ryan, and I'm probably going to end up with Luke Ryan by the end of the season, but I just couldn't fit him after picking Harris Sheasel in that team. So I've gone Sheasel, Clark, Wanganeen Malera, and I think that's a pretty solid backline. Clark has been on my radar pretty much all preseason as well. I think he's just absolutely great. Yeah,
for sure. Callum Mills. So we saw the other day he was rested due to plantar fascia in his foot. They say that he's going to be right to go round 0 as well. But does that worry you at all, Pete?
Look, it does, but he's there for a placeholder right now. If he's not playing round 0, I'm not going to pick him. Even if he's named round 1, I wouldn't pick him if he's not there round 0, because it means he's not 100%. It's the same injury that Nick Dacos has. If I'm not picking Nick Dacos, I shouldn't be picking Mills either, by that logic. He is a little bit cheaper, yes, so there is that. But I don't know what it is. I would prefer to go with a guns and rookie approach, especially if there's an injury concern. A fully fit Callum Mills is in my team. Dean Cox has already said that a couple of times live that he is playing midfield. That's it. He's going to be playing midfield this season. So by all means, if he's playing round 0, we're going to get a free look at him, and that's great. Yeah. But if he's playing midfield, you can't not have him. This is a guy that was priced over 700K only 3 seasons ago.
Yeah.
at one point. You might remember the big I think he scored 214 against the Dons, and then I couldn't get him in my team for the rest of the year because he was just too expensive.
We've got enough pain with the lack of final success, let alone people scoring monster scores against us, Pete. Just ease up, please.
Just in case. I just need to remind you. But we'll move off him. Look, if he's fit, he's in my team. If he's not, he's out. I'll put some rookie in there. I probably wouldn't go another price.
Deadly, do you like this Sullivan pick here? You've spoken pretty highly of him in the preseason.
Yeah, Connor O'Sullivan, he's one for me that, he's probably going to have a spot in that back line for Geelong now. He had that year in the VFL last year and really impressed, and he just needed that year of development. And, it's probably a spot for him now with Zach Tui leaving the AFL. They'll have a spot down back that he will slot somewhere into, and, he's a great intercept marker of the ball, and he'll make money pretty quick.
Yeah, and then we've got the rookies there. You've done a rookies podcast, Deadly, on the footy mailbag with Damo, who's a very predominant man in the Supercoach world. Bo Allen, Zach Reid, and Jepson from Gold Coast. A couple of picks there that are really nice too.
Yeah, 100%. Bo Allen's near on a lock in that West Coast team. Zach Reid, he'll do a job as long as he stays healthy. And Jepson's sort of one of I had in my team for a day or two, and then watching that sort of trifecta game between Collingwood, Gold Coast, and Brisbane sort of killed any love I had for him. He didn't really look to be in the main teams run throughs, and was sort of just with the twos when he came on. But I hope he does sneak a spot come round zero at 99k.
Yeah. Well, with Leo Lombard going in for minor shoulder surgery, there will be a spot opening up there with the Gold Coast Suns. Well, do you want to go through to the midfield now, Pete? And we'll have a look there.
As I move to the midfield, I think Jepson for me was more of a... Oh, why are you not moving? Sorry, we're having some technical issues. Has my screen...
I think it's just going real slow. You got a bit of a loading bar up the top. So. Got
a loading bar. There we go.
Yeah.
It's all right. I'll just hit refresh, and hopefully that does something. But while we go down, Jepson for me is more of a hopeful pick because his basement price, right? So if he doesn't get picked, that's fine. I've got some extra cash, so I could move him on to another player. While this is retrying, as you can see on the top right-hand side of the screen, I've already picked my VC and C, which is Cripper and Butters. Butters, what? I said that really strange. Cripps, look, you just have to have a Carlton player in the team. I think I've said this before. This season, at the start of the year, Carlton have an absolute dream draw for midfielders. And if it wasn't for Walsh's injury, Walsh would be in my team. But Patrick Cripps, he's just such a gun player. And for now, he's just got to be in my team purely because I want to capitalize on Carlton's good draw. And honestly, any Carlton player is basically a VC option would come round one. So
Pete has he's done a morale here, and he might have to sneak down to the local Macca's and get a hold of the Wi-Fi there because that's
tell you what's a shocking freeze frame for him.
That's not doing much for him there, is it? Deadly, I'm going to let you lead us into the Patreon chat right now.
Oh, how nice of you.
Well, what can you tell me before we play the advert?
Look, the American man does such a great job. I think you should just let him do it. But no, if you join the Patreon, join the WhatsApp, and you get to see all my shit talk and all mine and Kiz's Campbell Chester talk for most of the day.
We're not trying to scare people off, mate.
Oh no, it's great. It's great fun. I promise you. Nah, but we'll let the American man do a better job than I could.
Let's do it.
Want to take your Supercoach game to the next level? Inside Fantasy Sports are bringing you exclusive content all year round, such as weekly expert Q&As, team, trade, and captaincy advice, statistical deep dives, priority podcast questions, and tons more. So what are you waiting for? Get full access to the experts. Go to patreon.com/Insight Fantasy Sports and subscribe to Insight Unlimited today.
Some of the comments we're copping in the chat here.
Great.
Pete's turned into a statue.
I like to.
He's definitely had up some 18 plus tabs up. 4K can lag with dial up. He's practicing a certain pose. Poor Petey. Poor Petey.
It's been a rough one for him.
What have we released in the Patreon that the members at home or the people at home get involved in, Deadly?
Yeah, so we've got some real nice content from all the contributors so far this preseason. We've got Dr. Insight. He's doing his own little player versus player matchup. He's had some help from Pete when it comes to that, and he's put out some real nice ones when it comes to Gorn versus Sherry and Sarong versus Brayshaw to start. And yeah, you can go in there and request one, and the doc will have it done for you pretty much within the week. And yeah, it'll help you with your starting sides pretty quickly. Phil has done some really nice work in estate for Sydney and GWS teams. You put one out today, I believe, which was a really nice read for your primos in Sydney. I've put out strength of schedules for each position, who you want to target, and some really nice graphs in there. Hurls has put up some great articles as well for all different sort of things. And if you get in there, you really get ahead of the curve with all of us together. You get to read it all in one place, and it all goes well. We may have to pivot here because I've just received a text from Petey, and his computer has just died. It just switched off, and the power's connected, and nothing's happening. So, do you want to do your team, mate? We'll try and save this. Yeah, bugger it. Let's dive into mine.
Well, we start off with the man, the legend, Pete, and then we just use Pete to attract all the viewers, and then we just give them
absolutely, yeah.
All right, so ladies and gentlemen, unfortunately, Pete he's still alive, but his computer's died. So we're going to pivot right now. We'll do Pete's team another night, and we're going to get stuck straight into Deadly's team right now. So here we go, right off the top, mate. You did have a bit of microphone silence before when Pete was chatting. So the back line in your time. I'm with you, Corey. I'm hoping he doesn't have Campbell Chester in there somewhere, but
he's there.
There's an interesting omission right at the top, mate, and that's Harry Sheasel. You've gone with Dane Zorko.
This team's going to ruffle some feathers, I'm thinking, and I'm not fully
Callum Mills at D6.
I'm not fully sold on it yet, but this team will ruffle some feathers. And
Pete's back.
Pete's back. So
we're going to go through Deadly's team, mate, so you don't have to worry about share screening.
That is fine. It looks better than mine already.
I'll tell you what. This is as I said, it'll ruffle some feathers. It's a different one to start. Yeah, Dane Zorko, D1. He's probably close to a lock now in my team after going through my stats that I did with Brisbane's early runs. Pretty great for a team that literally just won the comp. But if you go through it, and you'll see this in the Patreon, Brisbane have probably the best halfback / designated kicker draw I've ever seen to open the season. And as we know, Dane Zorko, he loves to take kick-ins, loves to get the ball. Just sort of, it's not really the cheap kicks, but he's always in the build-up play. And he has plenty of touches. And I think he's in for another decent season back there, and probably All-Australian yet again.
Yep. I see that you've gone with the same D2, D3 as Pete, with Jordan Clark and Wangan Malera. Is there anything you'd like to add on our man, the Wang? Or Pete covered it pretty nicely before?
No, I'd say we pretty well covered the both of them. Wangan and Miller, oh my God. I watched that full practice match against, I can't remember who it was against now, and I watched it. Carlton, that's who it was, a couple days ago. And boy, Nasara Wangan Miller is in for a breakout year. It's simple as that.
Doesn't he? Mm.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, if you go back to my very first team reveal, I think I had Callum Mills at D2, and it's completely changed from then. And as we move on to Trent Rivers at D4, he's a pretty. He's getting onto a popular D3, D4 option nowadays, and I think the full-time move to the midfield will just ramp him up a bit. He has at least 10 points of value from midfield compared to halfback, and I think it'll probably even rise with a full preseason there now.
Yep.
Yeah.
I see you gone Perryman at D5 as well.
Yeah, he looked great the other day, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he's in every handball link-up chain. He looks to be Dacos's new best friend in that midfield after that game, and he's got a perfect CBA role. And before the preseason even started, before we even started making bulk content, we had Perryman down as a guy. If he moved to the midfield, we're probably going to have him in our teams because in games over 50% CBAs, averaged over 100 quite comfortably. So, there is ample value in him. And then Callum Mills, it's the same sort of thing. Hey,
sorry to cut you off, Deadly, but I want Pete's opinion on this. And you've just put it in the chat, mate. This backline is making both of us really excited. This is probably the first team that I've seen anywhere, especially with the lack of rookie options that we've got down back, to go, I wouldn't call it full primo. It has the potential to be, but Callum Mills at D6, that's some big agates right there.
It's a pretty deep backline, and I do like it. I really do like it. Zorko's an interesting pick because not many people are... Well, most people are fading him because he's not a forward anymore, right? But the role's there, so I do understand the picks. I think it's a safe one. And he's one of the few players that are still older than me in the competition. So which is great. He makes me feel young. Trent Rivers, I do like him as a pick. My personal only concern is, can he keep up the scoring when Track and Viney are back in the team? Because he had a similar role last year towards the end of the year, and he did have a couple of really good scores, but then he just kind of got a lot of 95s in there too. That's just my personal pick. I think Perryman is a genius pick, honestly. I'm probably going to be making a trade after my team before, and probably going Mills to Perryman myself. Mills, just to wait and see if he's got the plantar fasciitis, I think it's called. Yeah, that's
pretty spot on.
And look, I'm not going to deter you from two Tigers on the bench. I actually don't have very many Tigers, and that's a concern for me. Look, Caleb Smith is an interesting one because I've had him all preseason and I've only recently traded him out. That's purely because I just see Banks as the one that's just got that role at the moment, personally.
Yeah.
But with the Ralph Smith injury, who knows? But honestly, this backline looks elite. I love it.
Yeah, but are you going to be able to cover the bye? We see a couple.
That's literally what I was about to say. The only concern with this whole backline is that round 3 bye. I've got 3 people in the backline with it. Yes, I'll be able to cover it. I've looked over it. The rest of the team's fine. I do have, you'll see later, I have 5 players in that round 3 bye. I think that is the absolute maximum. And if I go any more, I'm stupid. I'll go give you free permission to call me an idiot if I pick another round 3 bye player. But I can cover it quite well. The bench options I have, they're not the greatest, let's be honest. But I think if Smith gets the role, obviously the bench is just played as placeholders until we get the green dots, the almighty green dots. But if I can cover it for, the time, and my flex player, we'll see later, can play in defense as well. So I can always move him up, and I should be sweet as long as I don't go too stupid with it.
All right, let's move into your forward line. Your midfield, sorry. But before we touch on your midfield, mate, the Supercoach World Cup is back. If you've got what it takes to compete against the very best in Supercoach, NRL, AFL, BBL, and NBL, then this is for you. For $25 for the year, you will enter yourself into the Supercoach World Cup. Win it and be like Mitch, the coach of Twitch at Flinch last year, who won just short of $1,000 for himself and the title of best Supercoach player in the world. If you think this is for you, click on the link in the description below and provide your details to enter. Now, let's move into your midfield, mate. You do have Bont at M1.
Yeah, I I toyed with the idea of the old hashtag fade bont that we sort of had going for about 10 minutes there. But then I sort of came to my senses and I was like, realistically, I don't want to miss this 180. This guy's going to have, it's going to happen. And I think I don't really have too many like captaincy options straight away. Like Butters is one, but besides that, it's really just Bont. So I'll be running with him to start. Yeah. And he'll be captain pretty well most weeks to start the season. Zach Butters, I mean, he hasn't left my team all preseason. He's probably the only guy to not have left my team with the amount of times I change it. And I'm comfortably starting him, I reckon.
Good. And Butters has got that juicy matchup against Richmond in round 1 too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's very close to the old captaincy as well. But
no offense, Pete. I know you're a Richmond man, but that could be very juicy.
I'm going to be captaining him against the Tigers too. It's okay. I've already preempted. This is another reason why I've got Butters in my team. Like, I get
it. Yeah. Dawson, really like this, mate. He's an absolute pod pick at 3% of teams at the moment. Adelaide have got a really nice draw to start the year as well for midfielders, as per your matrix that you've done up inside of the Patreon. What do you think? Do you think he's the one that gets tagged, or do you think that Adelaide might be a chance within the first 6 weeks to be 4-2, 5-1, and be flying?
I think there is a decent chance of that happening. I wouldn't confirm it because Matty Nix I don't trust as a coach personally, but I'm still on the fence, complete 50-50 with this because you'll notice one big omission, Caleb Sarong, who's spent a lot of time in my team this preseason. I've gone. It was a toss up, and I put this in the WhatsApp a couple hours ago: Dawson and Day or Sarong and Sanders, and I think I completely made myself look a fool by showing Dawson and Day because there was like 15-1 on the votes. So but I'm really expecting Dawson to get back up to his standards from a couple of years back where he almost reached 700k. And look, he is definitely the tag risk on Adelaide, but teams don't really tag in the first couple of weeks, as we know. And I don't really think they'll come into an Adelaide matchup being like, oh, we need to kick Jordan Dawson out of this game.
Especially with the amount of weapons they've got there now.
Yeah, 100%. Will Day, he was the player of the that preseason sort of unofficial matches that we had last week. And basically as soon as that game, the Geelong Hawthorn game was over, I was like, I need to find a way to get this guy back into my team because I had him to start the year and then sort of faded out from him about a month ago and just sort of never brought him back. But that game just confirmed to me he's in for a real breakout year and he could enter that elite midfielder territory quite easily.
And then Clayton Oliver, there's no real questions, queries, doubtful points there. You've just got to put him in. Pick
him. Too cheap to not pick him.
Yeah. Is that the same with Peatling?
Yeah, honestly, it's the exact same with James Peatling. I think he's just too cheap to not pick. And, I found there was times where I tried to trade Peatling out, go for someone else. He's the best player at that price option. And realistically, there's not many other people that, do the work that he can and make the money as quickly as he can. And he will top the tackles this year. Shout out Kizza. Elijah Sardis, he's probably...
Can I just give you some breaking news that I've just received?
Go on.
Taron Thomas is signing with Swan Districts in the Waffle.
Okay, that's...
So he's been shunted from all Melbourne Victorian clubs and he's on his way to Perth.
I really enjoyed the Northern Bullion statement that they put out. They just put out a blank sheet with their logo at the top and said, "We will not be pursuing Taron Thomas." I really enjoyed that. Okay, off topic, and we'll go to that for a bit. I don't want him back in the AFL, to be honest with you. I think his chance is up. I'm all for second chances, but he's stupid. And
I think he's up. Yeah, I think he's up to 4 at the moment. This would be his 4th if he's given one.
Yeah, okay.
So
Yeah, he's no. I don't want to.
Yep, that's fair.
Even comment on him too much. I don't think any AFL club should pursue him. Should he be able to next year?
Yep,
that's just my 2 cents anyway.
I know you're an Essendon man. We're going to talk about the rookie that we've got at your M7 now, but Pete, Elijah Zardes, to you. You watched a little bit of that practice match, and you've seen what's been going on with Essendon's trainings. You're really impressed by this kid.
He's been in my side for a little while now. Personally, I think that he's gone a leap above Setterfield. I've been a fan of Setterfield for the last couple of years, but I can see this kid. He's pick 5 only 3 years ago. Hasn't had a good run at it injury-wise, but has got his body right. Has had a really good preseason. Has been one of their best players every match simulation. There hasn't been one where you turn around and go, oh, he's disappeared a bit. No, he's just been amazing every single one. And then the practice match, he was probably best on ground. Honestly, like at that price, he's actually not that much more expensive than his rookie year when he was pick 5. So I think that he's a lock at this point in time, especially with Parrish's injury. We should get at least 2 or 3 spike games before Parrish comes back into the side, where maybe he plateaus a bit, but by then he's probably bulked and made some cash. So I don't know. And then he plays a pretty different game style to Parrish anyway. So I like him. He's actually in my team too. So eventually, when you get to see my midfield, you'll see him there. I think it's great.
When your computer doesn't shit itself.
It doesn't absolutely shit itself. Yeah, great pick, honestly. I'm liking your entire midfield. One thing I just need to say, Deadly, is this is the thing that I like the most about your midfield, and this is the thing that sets the really good super coaches apart, is the POD pick in the middle. And that Dawson pick, I'm just loving it because, as you said, Horse, 3% of owners, right? And he looks like, with Peatling in the team, he's going back to that 2023 role. That he absolutely killed it. And he was one of the, I think he was number 1 midfielder for a good while of the season. And then he ended up being, he was top 6 at least. But he was fantastic in that role, and he looked really good. And I saw your notes the other day, and it looked amazing. He did look great. And I watched the game too, and I'm tempted to pick him. I've gone with the Carlton POD in Patrick Cripps, but I could switch to a Dawson too. I don't mind it. But I think that's a real interesting one. That's a fun one, because if you nail that, you're so much further ahead from the competition. It's not even funny. So I really like it.
And Zardes will now be known as Stardust.
Mate, some of these things in the chat have been absolutely cracking me up. First of all, I think Skitsfist wants me to pick a 99k Richmond midfielder because they're going to have too many injuries to even field a side too soon.
Did you see that one, Pete?
Start
loading your team up now to be ready by next year.
That made me actually laugh. Like I couldn't hold it in. That's a good one. That's a great good one. That was gold.
Just quickly on Zardes, it's he's a lock for me, and with Jagger Smith unfortunately missing this season with injury, he's the best player at that price point now in my eyes, and quite comfortably. So I'm happy to have him at M7. Mitch Nevitt, M8. It's the same sort of thing. Looks like he's going to have bulk midfield time. We see he got named in the midfield to play against Essendon tomorrow, named in the centre bounce. And there's just money to be made with this kid. And I'm quite comfortable to start him on field at 150k in my mids as well.
Yeah, he looks like he's going to have a prominent role there.
Yeah.
Xavier Lindsay, he looks really good, mate.
Yeah, I've already got 3 people in from Melbourne in this midfield. I would probably honestly love to have 5. If there's a way to move Trent Rivers down and sneak in a Harvey Langford somewhere as well, I'd probably do it, to be honest. Xavier Lindsay, he looks to be in a good enough role to where he doesn't even get subbed and there's not a sub risk at all. With another unfortunate ACL tear to Inimonez Wakefield, there's a chance he could have some half back time as well and get some.
Opens up a big spot there. Yep.
Yeah. And
Although I'm glad you brought that up, because I think that, have you seen the Melbourne interview where they talk about Henderson and how clean he is with his hands, and they want him to play the Alex Neil-Bullen role?
yeah, we'll get to Henderson. I could have a 20-minute spiel about him. But
Spiel.
yeah, you like that one?
Yeah. All right. Well, hurry up then.
Oh, fuck, sorry. All right. Murphy Reid, he looked good yesterday for Freo in their intra club. He's there as a spot. He has a spot in my team now as a bit of a placeholder. I think he gets probably a half forward role. All right. Jack Henderson, Alex Neil-Bullen role. I think it's pretty well locked in the way the recruiters were speaking, and I think Goodwin likes him. Bottom dollar. Melbourne could be back on the up this year, and as Skitsfitz just said, he's almost a flex option. Genuinely, I'm tempted to play him on field because there is a way he could make good points, and the way they're talking him up, he could be great.
Yep. So with that role that Henderson's going to play with Alex Neil-Bullen, Tom Sparrow's been playing that a little bit in the preseason. I feel like with Moniz Wakefield going down, Sparrow probably goes back to halfback now, which is then just going to let Lindsay will probably stay on a wing, but then Henderson gets that roaming on baller role, that fifth on baller that Alex Neil-Bullen played so well last year. Yeah,
I think you're exactly right. And Melbourne have had some injuries. That McVeigh's out for a little bit, Wakefield's done. And it just opens up so many spots for these young guys to come in and make an impact.
Do you think young Brown gets a game? Because McVeigh and Wakefield are done and Salem is a corpse.
He doesn't. To me, he doesn't really resemble a halfback. He just looks straight mid, straight half forward in that territory.
Yeah,
I can't really see him being the one that they go to. I think they've talked about giving Caleb Windsor a run down back instead of on the wing.
Yeah, they have. Yeah,
they've talked about obviously Lindsay can play some halfback that they've talked about as well. I think they're probably preferred over Conan Brown. But look, with the injuries, there is a chance Conan Brown maybe sneaks a wing role or a spot like that. But yeah, he's way too much of a sub risk for me to even look at, to be honest.
Yeah. We see your rucks, mate. Now, I reckon this may have changed given the news that was released tonight with Mark Pitternet, or as he is now known on the Inside Fantasy Sports Network as Shitnet, has done a calf. Yeah, that's right, Pete. And Tom de Koning is going to be the man in the middle for Carlton, especially to start the year. So has he come in for you since the news, or did you have him before that?
Nope, he came in literally the second that Pitternet news broke, and I made that tweet. Originally, it was Toby Nankervis in there, and I still really like Nank as an option. He'd probably be next off, but geez, TDK, we know what he's capable of as a solo ruck, and it all depends on how long Pitternet is out for. If it's 1 to 2 weeks, probably get Nank back, to be honest. But TDK is a near on lock if it's like 6+ weeks for Pitternet. Darcy Cameron, mate, we've been high on all preseason. The way my team's been structured now with the strong backline and decently strong mids, I can't afford a Gorn or a Sherry. And you know what? I'm not mad about it because I really rate Darcy Cameron's chances of being a solid option this year. Finished the back half of last year really well. Round 3 by Trucks. I'm hoping Harry Boyd can cover it for the week. We'll see. But Are you pretty happy with Harry Boyd in your R3? Because there is a lot of discussion at the moment, and Pete, I'll get you to comment on this as well, with Harry Boyd being a potential flex option or an R2 option to start the year. For me, R3 is the safest option. We want to see what he's doing with Marshall in the side first before we can commit to any proper role on field for him. Pete, are you of any different opinion to that?
I had Boyd as my as my flex when the team was when he was first introduced, and then since then I gave it some thought. And look, Lee Montagna came out as well, and didn't really think that Boyd was in the best 22 or best side. And honestly, everything else that he said about St Kilda has so far been correct, and that has scared me a little. So he is sitting in R3 purely because I think he plays round 1. I think that even if they do play Marshall, it'll be the earliest point that he's available is round one. So if they play him, he's probably going to spend a lot of time up forward, you'd think. So therefore, Boyd probably plays as the one. He was really good on the weekend too. So
he was honestly, he looked good against Pitnet and TDK.
Well, the guy's 26, isn't he? And he's not. This is not a young kid. This is a guy that's ready to play football, and I think he's going to get a go early. If he's named round one, we have to pick him. He's a based on price ruckman. We do have a Fremantle. Is it Reedy? That Ridley? That I always forget because they've got so many Riddles players at the Dockers at the moment. But I believe it's Reedy who is the other option you could go down. But then again, he's only really in the side until Sean Darcy's back. So
whenever that might be,
whenever that might be. But then you've got the same sort of thing with Rowan Marshall. So you're kind of picking these guys based on how long are the number one ruckman going to be out for. So I would pick Boyd because of the scoring potential, of course. Let's see what happens. I mean, I like it, but I'd be picking it as R3 at the moment. There's no clear rookie ruckman to be. I mean, you'd have to be pretty ballsy to put him as your flex.
Yeah, you would.
Yeah,
you could pick both. You could pick both and put one as your flex, and then if Boyd doesn't play round two, hopefully Reedy's still in the side, and you can switch him up. I don't mind that, but that's a risk.
Yeah, I've had a few questions about that. Can you run Reedy at R2 or flex? And I've sort of shut them down pretty quickly because I don't think Reedy's an option at all to me, to be honest, because to me the strongest mail I've seen is Darcy, and I've seen it most places, is Darcy's ready round 5. Round 5 is the aim for the return. That means Reedy only has 4 weeks at a max, realistically, for going off that.
2 price rises. Yep.
Which is 2 price rises. And realistically, what's he going to make in 2 price rises, even if he scores decently well? And we know Reedy's not the guy to score, hundreds each week. He played last year in a couple games towards the back end, only averaged 60 or so. And then in the trial game against the Indigenous All-Stars, he only had 55. Just to me, I don't like the Reedy pick. I think I'll just run with Harry Boyd at R3. Hope he gets, some game time. Besides that, I don't love it.
Sorry, I'm not going to read it out for those on audio, but that's probably one of the better calls I've seen.
This comment section's been hilarious today.
It's been good tonight, hasn't it?
You guys are great. Good work.
When you've got people like Jonas who leads the way, these guys just do not miss, Pete.
He lights a fire, I tell you what.
He does. Now, we're going to get stuck into your forward line, mate, but before we do, we're just going to give a shout out to our sponsors, the guys that have been here with us since day one, the Standard Squeeze. The promo code has changed, ladies and gentlemen. You'll see there that it's IFS 15. It is now IFS 2025. So if you want 15% off, IFS 2025 to get yourself 15% off everything in store. Jack McRae at F1. That's interesting. No Pickles, no Rankin. Straight for Rankin. Straight for McRae, sorry.
It's sort of like these are one of the bigger changes. I had a pretty stacked forward line just a couple of days ago before I decided to bolster up the rest of my team. And I've sort of decided that I'm pretty comfortable with Jack McRae at F1 for now. I don't think forward is obviously forward's not the main position, as we know. And I tell you what, when I built that defense, I was almost looking like Randy in that South Park episode. I was loving it. So it sort of just forced me to run with McRae at F1, and I couldn't afford a guy like Pickles or a Rankin. But I don't hate either of them. I'd probably prefer Horn Francis. But McRae, he's locked into the midfield role. He's a lock. We don't really need to talk about him too much. Caleb Daniels, the same sort of thing, locked into the halfback role. But I will talk about the F2. If I didn't go Dane Dawson and I went Sarong and Sanders, I would have Sanders at F2.
Yep.
Which I'm probably still debating whether I do, because it makes the forward line look a lot better than what it is. It's not fantastic right now, but the rest of the team's bloody gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
And look, Daniel's a lock, halfback.
Yep.
Just put him in. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think he's up near 80% owned now.
Yeah, I don't know what the other 20% of people are doing, but
No.
get onto it.
No. Before we continue on to Hugo Garcia, Pete, Kizza just wants to know, have you still got LimeWire and Napster on your computer? And does it take 3 days to download 3 megs?
I replied to that. Should I stop downloading? On LimeWire? Is that going to help? Have we stopped doing that? I don't understand.
I can hear those little bumps with MSN Messenger in the back.
My screen's nudging. Oh man, I missed the nudge action. Honestly,
yeah, the nudge. That's right.
Do you know what, I should have nudge. We should reintroduce nudge into Microsoft Teams so I can start nudging people that are fading me on at work. Right? Just
right.
like I saw. I know that you've seen my message. Okay, I just want to nudge them. Just reply. I need to fix my computer. Sorry.
That's right.
We will
digress.
not talk about Microsoft Teams. We will not talk about.
You got Hugo Garcia.
Keep work away from work.
The Mexican in F3, deadly.
Yeah. Can we legally say that he's Mexican without confirming that? Is that? Can we? Is that?
He's our man.
All right. We'll trust him.
Yeah.
Nah. 245k for Hugo Garcia is looking a steal after that practice match, and it was a guy we sort of had a quick look at sometime during the preseason, and we're like, he might have a good midfield role. He loves a tackle.
Yeah,
can get to the ball at times, and we sort of just decided that the CBAs weren't going to be there enough for him to be a good enough option. That got completely thrown out the window last week.
Didn't it? He looked on fire
after we seen him be the third mid for the Saints and not move out the midfield, and he had 24 touches, I want to say, and like 6 tackles. And I'll tell you what, if my 245k guy is going up against Cripps, Chera, Hewitt, Doherty, these guys, and putting up 24 disposals and 6 tackles each week, thanks. I'll take the money. I'll lock and load.
That's hilarious.
On that, it's funny. It's funny because sorry to interrupt.
Hang on, hold your ghost is just logging into his MySpace. Sorry.
That little emoji with the face and the arms like that.
Yeah,
that was my team name in like 2022, and I was really hoping that I would make it high up so I could post it, and then Supercoach wouldn't allow it anymore.
Oh.
And I emailed them. I actually emailed them saying, "Hey, it's not accepting my team name," and they replied back was, "Can you please pick a real name?" Thank you. That was it.
Now, you're getting the wrath of the absolute elite of the Supercoach community, Deadly, if you've got Herbie Bull questioning you as to why you don't have Cherry.
I'll take questioning from Herbie Bull every time. He's set the foundation for the Insight Fantasy Sports podcast. It's just simple enough reason if you go back and have a look. I just can't afford it, and I really want to run that defense. If I'm honest with you, the midfield could slightly shake up, and I could get a guy like Cherry in, but I'm pretty. I feel really comfortable with Cameron and TDK right now.
Yep.
Kako. I love it.
At F4, mate. So this is where we start to get a little bit thin.
Yeah, we're getting real dicey now.
That's okay. If you can get your 60s to 70s out of these guys, you're laughing.
Yeah, I sort of was forced into picking Kako with me grabbing TDK because I really wanted to upgrade a guy in the midfield, and I sort of left myself short again and had to bring Kako back in because he actually left the team. But look, I'm happy to pick him. It's just price probably isn't the greatest, and I'd rather have Barry, have Hewitt, have these guys for cheaper and probably the same output. But Kako's still a fine option.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what. This chat it's looking like a MySpace page in about
it's unreal,
2003.
I'm sorry. I'm trying not to be distracting, but I honestly, it's on fire. So I have to acknowledge it.
It's very funny.
I've got it right in front of me, and I can't stop looking at it. It's pretty good.
Anthony, we will get to your questions, mate. I am starring them, and we will get to them at the end. But Plugger's just nailed this. Mom, get off the phone. I'm on MSN.
I was way too young for all this stuff. But I'll tell you what, growing up in the space of computers, you do learn about it very quickly. Yeah, Joe Berry, it's the same sort of thing as Kako. It's just he looks the better option to me personally. He just looks like he has more touches in him, potentially more tackles too, and he actually looks the better player, which I hate to say as an Essendon fan, but I hope both of them can come up the ranks together and be great footballers together and make me some money in this first year.
Good. Elijah Hewitt, are you worried about him at F6?
Yeah, I'm slightly concerned now, especially seeing that West Coast intra club and seeing him in the B team. It's quite a worry, and seeing that they prefer guys like Duggan confirmed in that midfield and Harley Reid coming back. There's still Yoda come back as well, which seriously worries me if there's actually a spot for Hewitt now. He's still there as a placeholder, but I'm worried now. And I'll tell you this now: if Hewitt looks like he's not going to be in the spot, I will run Sanders in my forward line F3. and drop someone back down, probably a day back down. Hewitt. He's concerning, but for now, he's still there as a placeholder.
Yeah, and you've got Connor Stone, your man, that you're going on pure vibes from what you saw on the weekend.
Tell you what, he looked good enough to hold the role, but the habit talk, it's locked him in for me. I've still never seen nothing funnier, and I don't think I will for a long time. It was great.
No. And then Davidson, we don't need to speak too much more about him. You've spoken to me, or spoken to us, a lot about him and his upside, and especially with Waitman out to start the year. He's not back until round 13, I believe. So we can basically lock him in, and he's going to get a good run there to start the year. Yeah,
I think we'll combine these two. We've got Davidson and Allen. They're my most two talked about players in all of Supercoach to start this preseason, and it's pretty fair why they haven't left my team. And they look to be fantastic options, both of them. Allen, he's in the flex because I was going to put Rivers in the flex or put a midfielder down there. But how nice is it just seeing 6 primo looking blokes in the one spot? I'd rather that than have Allen up there and sort of kill it. Allen's has got a spot in the back line. We spoke about him before in Pete's team. And James Hodge, you're absolutely right. Cody Angrove likely to get a run. Sub risk worries me. There's plenty of options now with these, 113k guys. You got Boxall, who looked fantastic for the Saints. I think Max Hall probably has locked in a spot in the Saints forward line now. Angove as well, obviously. There's a few others. And these guys are all just placeholders until we see round 0, round 1, what roles are looking like and who the best rookies we can pick. But this is sort of the foundation.
Beautiful. Do you want to roll it from the top then?
Too,
Do you want to roll it from the top and just go through your team as a whole, mate?
We'll zoom out a little bit and go probably...
I think the most important number, not your team though, is that there's 16 days until round 1, mate, and I cannot wait.
I love it. So Zorko... he's got the vice captaincy on him now, and it might change, but he looks the goods. Jordan Clark, Nasai Wangan Millerer, Trent Rivers, Harry Perryman, Callum Mills to round off the gorgeous looking defensive back six, with Caleb Smith and Luke Traynor on the bench, who I've heard good raps about. Luke Traynor maybe getting a chance. I don't know if you can confirm that, Pete, but he looks in amongst it.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, I'm still on mute. He does. No, he definitely does. Definitely on my radar.
Yeah, nice. That's all I need to hear, especially from our resident Richmond man. Midfielders, we've got Marcus Bontempelli, Zach Butters, Jordan Dawson, Will Day, Clayton Oliver, James Peatling, Elijah Sardis, Mitch Nevitt to round out the 8 starters, with Xavier Lindsay, Murphy Reid, and Jack Henderson on the bench. In the ruck line, we have Darcy Cameron and Tom DeConing, who I'm comfortable with, and Harry Boyd is the R3, who's probably one of the safer options, especially in that ruck line at the price. Forward line, Jack McRae, Caleb Daniel, Hugo Garcia, Isaac Kako, Joe Berry, and Elijah Hewitt, with Connor Stone and Sam Davidson on the bench and Bo Allen in the flex.
Like it. I really like it. I like the agates that you're going with such a deep back line and then you're playing mid with rookies that you believe are going to make cash in order for you to upgrade them quicker into primos. So remember, ladies and gentlemen at home, we are Supercoach experts, but at the same time, you've got to go with your gut feel too. If you think that you can go a different way for the same, if not better results, then do that. Like it's a game. We're here to have fun. So we don't want you have to do it this way or it's no way. We have an ability to be able to be flexible and you should be too. If you can see different ways of making money, then we encourage you to do that.
100%. There is probably 850 guys in the Supercoach database. Yep. I like probably about 200 of them. So there you go.
Yeah.
I will quickly bring up James Hodge. Connor Stone's efficiency was very low by foot, but it's simply down to the fact that a lot of the time he was sort of the mop-up guy back there, and he was, the sort of one of the last lines of defense when it came to picking the ball up off the deck and just getting rid of it. And as we know, that's if you're not finding targets and looking directly at targets, you're not going to have a high efficiency all the time. But I think he safely earned his spot, and there's still a, very, very simple chance that, he'll make some money.
For sure. Mate, it's been one of the funnier chats that we've had tonight, so I think it's only fair that we go back through and pick out some questions to answer. What do you lads reckon?
I reckon.
I wanted to say Pete.
It's question time. Let's answer your questions for the week ahead.
Oh, God, there's some funny stuff going on here, isn't there? We'll go through the start ones. Apparently, we were late because I locked my keys out of the house.
Are we sure
last night was huge.
Are we sure the missus didn't just kick you out and make you sleep outside on the front porch?
No, she was nice tonight. We did have a draft party yesterday, so we had a few beers. And for those of you that follow me on Twitter, the bloke who finished last in our Supercoach draft league had to dress in a dinosaur suit and hold a sign on a roundabout saying that he was shit at Supercoach. And every time someone tooted their horn, he had to dance. He was doing the worm. He was up and about. He was doing the gritty, the whole lot. Very, very funny to watch. But yeah, had a few beers and she wasn't overly happy when I got home at stupid o'clock. Chris Morgan to Pete. Thank you for the practice match reports, Pete. Legendary.
You're welcome. I hope that helps.
Mills with plantar fasciitis is a concern. Pete, I'll ask you this. So James has spoken with orthopedic surgeons at work, and they said that in elite athletes, they will have flare-up during the season. So there'll be a big risk for Dacos and Mills especially. Do you think that it's the risk versus reward is great enough for us to take a punt, or do you think we should be fading?
I'm going to be honest. Now, I am in no way have ever been or will ever be or even remotely be anywhere near a professional athlete, ever. In my life, or ever have been. However,
we're sitting next to Deadly.
I've had this exact injury back in my very, very average playing days. And it flares up. One week you feel amazing, the next week you feel amazing, and then out of nowhere, it's just horrible. Like, you feel great before bed, you wake up, and then suddenly you can't walk anymore. You can't put any pressure on it, and you don't know what you've done wrong. You don't know when it happened. And that's the kind of injury that it is. And I don't know what it is. I don't personally like it. If we do go back to my team, you're going to see that I actually traded out Mills for Perryman. So I've already made my call. It's that type of injury where one week you feel good, the next week you don't, and you can't even like pinpoint when you hurt yourself. It just hurts all of a sudden, and you don't know what you've done. And it's that kind of injury, and it sucks. It really does. So, it's going to be tough to see.
For sure. And you're right. Both of them need to read Robert Harvey's book on how he got rid of plantar fasciitis.
I've got it in the back here. I've got it.
For those that haven't read the book, do you want to read them through what Robert Harvey actually did, mate?
He and this is not medical advice at all.
Don't try this at home.
First, I'm not a pro athlete, never have been. Second, nowhere near a doctor material either. So please do not do this. He jumped off a stool onto, I believe he put 2 bricks from memory that way. It was two objects, and he jumped on a stool and he landed like that. So his foot would do this, and then that muscle would snap, and there you go. Didn't get surgery on it, never healed, and he never had an issue again. But don't do that, because that sounds horrific.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Dr. Nerds4Life here on Insight Fantasy Sports.
If it worked for Boomer, it can work for you. So do it at home.
In all fairness, he did, based on the book, I'm pretty sure he did it before his 2 Brownlows. So, right. He did something right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Go jump off a stool onto some bricks,
and you'll win 2 Brownlows.
And you'll win 2 Brownlows.
I mean, if Patrick Cripps can get Brownlow votes for breathing, we're in with a shot. Anthony Delacroix. How about Ridley at the Bombers in the back line? So he's in now, Pete. I know that you are not a fan at all. I'll ask you first because Deadly and I are Essendon men. He's the resident Burn man, isn't he?
Never again. Just never again. He is number 1 on my never again list. Like if I had a list to show you, it's Ridley, Jaden Short, Ridley.
Really?
That's my never again list right now. He's made 3 of the top 4 spaces. Just never again. No. Just don't.
Just
no. Just no. No, I put Jaden Short in there too, in all fairness. But yeah, no, not again. He's a good player, but his body can't handle it.
What do you think, Deadly?
First of all, Jasper, that's your worst. How dare you?
Jasper, you are better than that.
No, he's not an option, mate. He's just coming back from an injury that's near on sent him to Qatar, and he's had some struggles. So I don't love it personally. I think there's better options out there.
Are you reading Jonas's comment, Pete? I can't put it up. We'll get in trouble. I'm sorry. From John, does the best 18 become 19 with the flex? So basically, you've got 23 players on field, John. Your best 22 scores count. So you can take a flyer on someone with some extreme upside, but may have an extremely low floor. I know the Skodfather used Jai Newcomb as an example. So he had some ripping games where he scored 140, 150s, but then he had some games where he scored 40s and 50s. So having that flex and being able to negate one poor score in your lineup means that you can take a risk on someone that's got some high upside to try and score better.
I have just dubbed that for the Insight Fantasy Sports Network, the Noah Anderson effect.
It is. Yeah.
Yeah, you get the 150 one week and the 50 rolls out the next week. It's great.
James Hodge, Flynn R2, Reedy R3, Bloyd Flex.
I think you're fighting for number 1 with that ruck lineup. You should go with it.
Yeah. Maybe
number
even just have Mark Pitton at R1, you're sorted.
Yeah, why not?
His R1's Jordan Sweet too.
Yeah.
Any news from Anthony again? Any news on Sonny Walters from Freo in the forward line, 236K? For me, he's not an option. He's that not very high ceiling, but very low floor. He's getting on. He's going to be subbed at times this year.
Yeah.
There's too much risk there.
Yeah, no, he's a huge sub risk, and there is better guys for cheap, but a lot of better guys you can find.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Cody Angove will surely get a run. I'm with you, James. I reckon he scores well too. I reckon he plays round 1.
Yeah, sub risk is the big thing for me. But if he's in the team, we get to see round 0, so that's a good part. If he's not subbed and he looks like he's sort of stuck into that team, and they don't really sub due to injury, and it's someone else, I'm probably on it. He looked fucking fantastic the other day, and I really rate his game.
Yep. One that you were told about previously too, Deadly. Hasty looked good as well.
I'm making that 2-0. I've had Ben Keys. I'll give you Angus Hasty. We had some discussions in the DMs, me and Horse, and sort of when we found out that Ari Schoenmaker was not going to play for St Kilda in this practice match, we had a bit of debate who's going to play as second fiddle to Wanganeen Miller in the back line, and he said Angus Hasty, and I said, "You're stupid. That's not going to happen. It'll be Darcy Wilson." And here I am looking like the complete knob. So well done, Horse.
Lee Montagna came out and said that he really rated Hasty. He said that he's had an absolutely ripping preseason and put him ahead of Travalia, by the way, in the side.
And he looks like he is.
He looks like he is. The only issue is Schoenmaker's coming back probably, and then you've also got Sinclair coming back too. So what is the role that he has when those two guys do come back is what we don't really know. But he's probably a good chance to be in the side. So I like it.
Yeah, I reckon he probably plays round one and then maybe doesn't show up for a while or is a sub for most times. But the big one's actually Schoenmaker because we don't know what position he's going to play realistically. He's played as a third tall. He's played as a halfback. We don't know until we see it in a practice match, and I hope he's named for the Saints this weekend.
Yep. Jonas, again, going back in our school days, Pete's a leisure shoot Larry lad from way back. Did you ever play that game, Pete?
I know the game, but no, I didn't. No, but I know the game. I know the game.
That was an absolute ripper back in the day.
Yeah, no, it was. But I didn't play it myself.
No. Jonas, again, Pickles is the kind of bloke that invites Pete over for a sleepover the night before a game. Oh, what a time to get frozen, Pete.
Okay.
Okay.
What do I say to that?
You can't say
Jonas. It's Jonas. You move on. You go on with your life. You go on with your life.
That's the one that I saw, and then I just I actually teared up when I read it originally. That's the thing, and I had to put myself on mute. So now seeing it again, I can compose myself a little bit.
From Plugger, great bloke Plugger is. Watching Pete's camera is like watching one of those Japanese movies that had been dubbed over.
Which one's like Dragon Ball? Naruto? Is that the movies you're talking about?
I would assume that they're the exact movies that he's talking about.
Yeah,
yes,
I think they are. Yeah, they're definitely the movies he's talking about. 100%.
Yep. Sailor Moon, even.
Yeah, all of them. Well, I'm actually wearing a Dragon Ball tee. I'm going to show you. I'm wearing a Dragon Ball t-shirt.
Oh yeah.
There you
go. Nice. Can't see it because it's been dubbed over.
Skitsfits. Deadly has one IOU horse.
I do, and I'll remember that, mate. I'll remember what you said. But you don't even remember what you said already.
What's your thoughts on Tommy Powell? We'll go to Deadly first.
Draft only.
Draft
really
only?
good. I reckon he's locked into that midfield role. It looks good, but I don't think there's much money to be made with him. He's already priced at a decent price, and he's not a guy that will pump out 120s or stuff like that. He might have the occasional 105, 110, but it'll probably be around consistent 90s.
Yeah, I think so. Pete, same?
I think he'd be same sort of thing. I think he'd be a great draft pick, especially early while Wardlaw's out of the side. Yeah. I think that he could be, maybe he is a 110 guy for the first half of the year, potentially. Yep. Potentially 105, 110. But I can see that really dropping off as soon as Wardlaw's back and fit. Yeah. He's one of those guys where maybe you have an early run, but not really worth it, the classic.
Another one from James Hodge. We'll go to you, Pete. As a forward pod, any worth looking at Sam Wicks? Played off halfback and kick-ins. I'm asking you first because then I'll go to Deadly, who was at the game.
So I've seen a lot of rumours about this, and then obviously that it looks like he's got that kind of role. I'm not really sold yet. I don't know why we're not sold yet, because usually this is the kind of thing that we love and we end up just really jumping on top of, but not sorry, I'm just
he's throwing
focus on my sentence. Not on the chat. Chat is over here. But yeah, it's the kind of thing we jump on top of, and I don't understand why we're not. But also not considering him, and I really don't know why too. Maybe it's because I've been in the system for so long, and I just don't. Look, it's just got Alex Sexton written all over it, and possibly not as good. So I'm not sold. I'm just not sold on it. Draft there, yeah, go nuts.
I'll give you the reasons why you're not sold, and it's fairly simple. Said he had kick-ins. I don't think he took one kick-in. It was mainly just Blakey, Robertson, Florent took one or two. But Wicks was just strictly back there as a guy to defend. He spent no time, running around the ground. He basically followed Toby Green everywhere he went. And, he's not off the halfback flank because the main guys off the halfback flank were Florent, Roberts, and Patton was for a bit. But Wicks was strictly just in a lockdown role as a small. It was quite peculiar. And I sort of don't know if he has the spot when Cunningham comes back, however long that may be. But yes, draft, I don't mind it. There is some good deep league late round value to have. Supercoach, I don't think there's much money to be made because he's not in an actual proper good halfback role. It's sort of just in a
Yep.
He lands in the Jack Silvani area of centre halfback. Will make maybe 60K, put up mass scores, can't play him on field. And if we're picking a guy at 252K and not playing him on field, it just doesn't work for me.
I agree.
Agreed.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do us for tonight. Pete, where can the people who don't know where to find you, where can they find you?
So my symbol is, I do this every time, it's here. It is the same on it's, I don't know, on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok, on YouTube, on all of those, and you can find it there. I post on all of them, and all of them. You can find me there.
Yeah, I think especially, and I'm sure Deadly will have my back on this. Since you've been a part of what we've been doing during the pre-season, Pete, we've bloody loved what you've done and the work that you put in, day out with training notes, with what's going on where all around Australia. It's not just making us better here at Insight. You're making the whole Supercoach community a better place for knowing exactly what's going on. So from the Horse and Deadly here, thank you for doing what you do, and we look forward to continue working with you.
Thank you for having me. I'm enjoying it. I'm glad that I'm just glad people are liking it. That's the thing. I think it was a few years ago. I was sitting there at preseason going, man, I really wish that someone would just get all this information and put it into one spot so I just know what to do come draft day. And then I was like, oh, I'll just do that. And then I did it. And other people like it too. I'm that guy now. But no, thanks for having me on because I'm really enjoying it. So I enjoy doing this. I enjoy having a chat, especially with the guys there are some interesting comments, but I'm enjoying it myself as well. So I'm looking forward to the next time I'm on as well.
Absolutely. Deadly, you're going away for a few days, but where can the guys find you?
You can still chat to me right there.
Yep.
You can still chat to me. I'll be on my phone, even though I probably should just be sitting in a beach chair doing fuck all. Just going away for a few days, having some time off before the season really kicks off, and I'm bloody keen to rip and tear, and you'll probably be able to hear me 6 hours away in when Essendon lose by 50 tomorrow to Geelong.
We're going 2-0, baby. We're going to be on top. This is when the real stuff matters.
Like Dons.
But from an Insight fantasy sports point of view, you've been an absolute asset this year too, Deadly. We've appreciated the work that you've done, especially behind the scenes, mate. And I guess I kind of like you a little bit now.
Oh, gee, thanks, mate.
Yeah, that's about as good
I'll
as
tell you what, I'm going back and I'm making what Pete said earlier. He basically called me an elite Supercoach player. I'm taking that. I'm making it a clip and I'm putting it everywhere. Getting hung up on the wall there.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have something nice for you tomorrow night too. We're going live again. Skitsfits. Jared, coach of Skitsfits, is jumping on our show. At one stage last year, he was ranked 26th overall in the run home. So this guy absolutely knows what he's talking about. And he's got some spicy selections in his side that he wants to share here on Insight. It's going to be Skitsfits. It's going to be the Horse. And we're going to have Squiddy He'll probably have a few beers. I might as well. We'll get the people back in the chat and we'll run it all back again. We're going each and every night up until round 0, ladies and gentlemen. So if you can join us every night, go nuts. Tell your friends, tell your mum, tell your dad, tell your grandparents. We'll keep it PG rated for them. We just want as many people here in the community as we can. But for tonight, the far right's Pete, in the middle's Deadly. I'm the horse. This has been brilliant, and we'll chat to you again tomorrow night.
Thanks, Joe.